Hey everybody, it's Froden here, and I just want to take this opportunity in a few minutes to preview an upcoming tournament that I'm going to be commentating at. It's called the World Electronic Sports Games, WESG. It's happening in Changzhou, China, starting on January 12th in 2017. So we're going to kick off 2017 with an Olympic-style World Games, and it's got all kinds of competitions there, from Dota to Counter-Strike to Hearthstone. And I'm really excited to see what countries can really come in, because in a game like Hearthstone, where really anybody can win on any given Sunday, it's really exciting to see who will be able to take the crown this year. And growing up, when I watched WCA and all these other cool competitions that gathered people from the countries, it was awesome to see representation and people feel really proud to represent their homeland. So I want to see some really intense competition over these next couple days, and we've got some really good players rounding out the groups. I just want to point out a few highlight players who are going to be the big movers and shakers of the competition. And Group A, I'm really looking at Orange and Nyria as two of the players who are looking to be favorites. But I think a couple people who are dark horses, like PNC, who did really well in the Hearthstone Championship Tour last year, was able to make it to the top 8. And PNC, even though he's from Latin America and he's from Argentina, he doesn't really necessarily call himself a Latin American player solely, because he practices so often with people from North America. So I really think that he's just as good as some of the top NA players, or at least on that skill level. Maybe he's not necessarily in the top percentage yet, but he's been working hard, and I think he's definitely got a shot. Impact, of course, is always a dark horse in any competition. Sometimes he brings really cool decks, sometimes he brings really bad decks, and I think it's going to determine how his ranking actually pans out for that group. Group B, there's definitely a couple of players that may sound familiar, but they're relatively unknown. The one player that I'm looking at is Staz. Staz is a player that's actually qualified multiple times for a lot of competitions, but one of the biggest reasons why he hasn't been able to attend a lot of these tournaments is because of visa issues. Staz has gotten to the top 8 multiple times for the Asia Pacific Championships. He qualified one time in winter in 2016, and he qualified again, but he couldn't go, and therefore they asked other players, and that's how guys like Ping Ping Ho and a few other people were able to get in through to the top 8 multiple times. So this guy is really good. He's had international travel problems, and now when he's finally able to travel beyond just the border of the Philippines, maybe he has an opportunity to really perform well. Talion also comes in as another known player in Group B based off his performance in 2016 for the Hearthstone Championship Tour. He did well for the Americas and was able to get to the top 8. Him and his practice partner Dwayne, which is really interesting that both of them were able to get through over the course of 2 seasons. So those are the 2 guys I'm looking at. Group C, really easy to call this one. 6-0 has been dominant this year, and I think he's going to start off 2017 with a bang. He does have a couple of players that could get in his way. I do know Dutch Boy. He's a player that I actually practiced against a couple times on ladder. And I think Shy is also a player that his name sounds familiar, and I've seen his name in a couple of competitions. See if he's able to really continue to go through and make a splash in it. So even though 6-0 comes in as the big favorite, I'm really looking to see if a couple of these guys can really shake things up, because and again, in a game like Hearthstone, you can't win them all. You can't win every single competition. It's just not going to happen. So who's going to be the one making a name for themselves by beating 6-0? Will it be these players that we've kind of heard of, or is it going to even be someone from Japan, a region that's always been underrated and lack of opportunities? It'll be the only representative from it. So I'm looking to see if they can once again put their names on the map, because they definitely made some splashes last year in 2015 at the date of this recorded video for the BlizzCon World Championship. In Group D, I look at Bunny Hopper as the best player in this group. There is a player from Celestial, it's Huang, at least based off the tag name. I'm not that familiar with the Chinese region, but I do know that a couple of the players from Celestials are killers, and they do practice with each other extensively. Bunny Hopper, though, I think he is one of the best players in Europe that's not really discussed about. I think he is kind of like Crane was at the beginning of this year. A lot of players might see his name. He did well in HCT the winter season, so people are familiar with just seeing his name, and they've seen him go far in a couple of dream hacks, but they probably haven't recognized him compared to his teammates and Dr. Hippie and Naaman nearly as much, considering how notable their performances going to BlizzCon. I think Bunny Hopper is a very strong player. He's a good practice partner for a lot of the top highest performing players as well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Bunny Hopper take this group or be really dominant position. The problem with Bunny Hopper is sometimes he overthinks the meta and he has lineups that aren't optimal, I think. And sometimes he like tries to be a little bit too creative with his deck lists and changes 3 or 4 cards, and that ends up making it less refined because he wanted to add his own spin. But if he can really figure out the right 90 cards or 120 cards to bring for the tournament, then I think he's going to be in good shape. Fluffy also is a player to watch out for. I've seen his name multiple times in top end of ladder, and I think he's definitely one to look out for. So with that, that's a little bit of a preview. I know I was really tagging on a lot of players' Western names, but I'm looking forward to learn about some of these guys. Some of these players, they have to have breakout performances too. One of the cool things is that it's a card game, so new players and new faces will always be coming through the door, but who will be the ones staying? They could be booking a name or booking themselves a ticket to future tournaments by making a name in this tournament. Let's see what happens. So I hope I gave you a little bit of insight into the tournament. I'm really excited. Once again, this is cool global competition that we're really looking forward to start off the year. So definitely tune in. WESG happening on January 12th with me, Noxious, and a few other favorite casters. Take care, guys.